Well, we're learning from the greats, and we're going to go to the Prince of Preachers. That's right, Charles Spurgeon. We're going to learn from his sermon map today. What were you doing January 6th, 1856? This sermon comes from way back then. It's, of course, not him preaching, it's somebody reading it. But this is the first sermon listed in his giant 5-volume collection, and it's on his greatest sermons audio compilation as well. And he was only 6 years into the faith and only 21 years old when he preached this sermon. All right. Now, if you know sermon mapping at all, you're already looking at this map like, oh my goodness, what is this? This looks like Beethoven sheet music. Okay. This looks like a symphony. And you see right away that we're dealing with somebody who is off the charts in creativity here. The number of things that he does to explain the text and illustrate the text and apply the text is astronomical. It was so hard to keep up with him while I was trying to map this. I had to pause it and pause it and pause it and pause it. Now, why do we map these sermons? Because we can learn so many skills from a master preacher like Charles Spurgeon. In fact, I could do a 10-part series on this sermon alone, on what different skill sets he brought. And remember, a sermon map is like watching film. Okay, you go back, you watch Kobe, you're going to see things in slow motion that you didn't understand when you first saw them. Okay, when he breaks ankles and stuff. When you look at what's going on, start to finish in this sermon, every little move, the combinations, the chords, the melodies, it's unbelievable what he does. So I'm going to try and pull out the 4 major things that we can learn from his preaching here. And the key skills are listed down here. First, we see a sustained, comprehensive emphasis. The cohesion of this sermon, even though it is so, in modern day terms, ADHD, okay, the sustained cohesion of it is amazing. And there's a vast horizon of depth. He takes us to the beginning and the end of history. All over the horizon that he covers is breathtaking. Yet a simple structure. Just 3 points. He doesn't get crazy and complex with the structure. And he also does this from an apologetic angle. This whole sermon, called Sovereignty and Salvation from Isaiah 45:22, is a historical defense of the Christian faith. It's unbelievable. So let's just get into it, because I hope your mind is going to be blown just like mine. Okay, I just have audio, of course. Here we go.
Sermon number 1, Sovereignty and Salvation. A sermon delivered on Sabbath morning, January 6th, by the Reverend C.H. Spurgeon at New Park Street Chapel, Southwark. Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth, for I am God, and there is none else. Isaiah 14:22.
It's actually Isaiah 45:22. You must have read the Roman numerals wrong. Isaiah 45:22, 1-verse sermon. All this came from one verse.
6 years ago today, as near as possible at this very hour of the day, I was in the gall of bitterness and in the bonds of iniquity.
Starts with his personal testimony.
Had yet, by divine grace, been led to feel the bitterness of that bondage, and to cry out by reason of the soreness of its slavery. Seeking rest and finding none, I stepped within the house of God, and sat there, afraid to look upward,
So I got saved.
lest I should be utterly cut off, and lest his fierce wrath should consume me. The minister rose in his pulpit, and, as I have done this morning, read this text.
Bible reading.
Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth, for I am God, and there is none else.
Now remember, if you're new to sermon mapping, every time he does something, we put a dot. So he shared his personal testimony and then read the Bible. We connect the dots. It doesn't matter how long the lines are. We're just tracking any movement. It flows through time. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, left to right. Main points get put up here. And these are all the different things that a preacher can do to explain. This is explanation. Illustrate. This is illustration. And apply the text. That's application. Okay, here we go.
I looked that moment. The grace of faith was vouchsafed to me in the selfsame instant. And now I think I can say with truth, ere since by faith I saw the stream his flowing wounds supply, redeeming love has been my theme, and shall be till I die. I shall never forget that day, while memory holds its places, nor can I help repeating this text, whenever I remember that hour when first I knew the Lord. How strangely gracious, how wonderfully and marvelously kind, that he who heard these words so little time ago for his own soul's profit should now address you this morning as his hearers from the same text, in the full and confident hope that some poor sinner within these walls may hear the
Now he's
glad
talking
tidings
to
of
us,
salvation for himself
his
also,
audience. Maybe you'll hear
and may
this.
today, on this 6th of January, be turned from darkness to light and from the power of Satan unto God.
A short little
If it
gospel
were within the range of
presentation
human
there.
capacity to conceive a time when God dwelt alone, without his creatures, we should then have one of the grandest and most stupendous ideas of God. There was a season when as yet the sun had never run his race, nor commenced flinging his golden rays across space to gladden the earth. There was an era when no stars sparkled in the firmament, for there was no sea of azure in which they might float. There was a time when all that we now behold of God's great universe was yet unborn, slumbering within the mind of God, as yet uncreate and non-existent. Yet there was God, and he was, over all, blessed forever. Though no seraphs hymned his praises, though no strong-winged cherubs flashed like lightning to do his high behests, though he was without a retinue, yet he sat as a king on his throne, the mighty God, forever to be worshipped, the dread supreme, in solemn silence dwelling by himself in vast immensity, making of the placid clouds his canopy, and the light from his own countenance forming the brightness of his glory. God was, and God is. From the beginning God was God, ere worlds had beginning. He was from everlasting to everlasting. Now when it pleased him to create his creatures.
Okay, let's just pause there. Can you believe your ears? I've never said anything that beautiful about God in my life, and I've been preaching for like 20 years. What did he do? He used some analogies of the sun and the... I just need to go back and listen to it again. Quotable phrases. He said it in an elegant way, and that's what we would call a doctrinal feature. He was camping on theology proper. Who is God? We're only 2 minutes, 3 minutes into the sermon here, and we realize we're dealing with somebody special at 21 years old. His first idea is he is God, and he's going to continue to now talk about what about us.
Does it not strike you how infinitely those creatures must have been below himself? If you are potters, and you fashion upon the wheel a vessel, shall that piece of clay arrogate to itself equality with you?
Anthropology.
Nay, at what distance will it be from you?
A quick analogy.
Because you have been in part its creator. So when the Almighty formed his creatures, was it not consummate impudence that they should venture for a moment to compare themselves with him? Yet that arch traitor, that leader of rebels, Satan,
Little angelology
sought
here.
to climb to the high throne of God, soon to find his aim too high, and hell itself not low enough wherein to escape divine vengeance. He knows that God is God alone. Since the world was created, man has imitated Satan. The creature of a day, the ephemera of an hour, has sought to match itself with the eternal. Hence, it has ever been one of the objects of the great Jehovah to teach mankind that Be is God, and beside him there is none else.
Who is God?
This is the lesson he has been teaching the world since it went astray from him. He has been busying himself in breaking down the high places, and exalting the valleys, and casting down imaginations and lofty looks, that all the world might know that the Lord is God alone. He can create and he can destroy. This morning we shall attempt to show you in the first place how God has been teaching this great lesson to the world.
He is God.
That he is God.
Number one.
And beside him there is none else. And then secondly, the special way in which he designs to teach it in the matter of salvation.
So we learned from Spurgeon you can be profound and yet simple and clear at the same time. Number one, he is God. There is no other. Number two, salvation. Seek me all the earth, right? So real simple structure, point one, point two. And already some amazing language happening. Let's continue on.
Look unto me and be ye saved, for I am God and there is none else. First, then, how has God been teaching this lesson to mankind? We reply, he has taught it first of all to false gods and to the idolaters who have bowed before them. Man, in his wickedness and sin, has set up a block of wood and stone to be his maker, and has bowed before them. He hath fashioned for himself out of a goodly tree an image made unto the likeness of mortal man, or of the fishes of the sea, or of creeping things of the earth. And he has prostrated his body and his soul too, before that creature of his own hands, calling it God, while it had neither eyes to see, nor hands to handle, nor ears to hear. But how hath God poured contempt on the ancient gods of the heathen?
All right, so this is about to be one of the most amazing things I've ever mapped in any of the many sermons that I've mapped. He's going to now sustain tracing a theme, which is line 9. He's tracing a theme this whole time, okay? And he is tracing a historical theme of where all these other gods came from. It's apologetic and it's historical. So these two lines going at the same time, side by side, is a masterful thing he's about to do. And he's about to cover it in just about 6 minutes. So just say to yourself, he is going to go through history of false religions, and he's going to do it in just 6 minutes. And these are the kind of things you can build into your preaching if you can track what he's doing here.
Where are they now? Are they so much as known? Where are those false deities before whom the multitudes of Nineveh prostrated themselves?
Anthropology,
ask
false
the
gods,
moles
true
and the bats
gods.
whose companions they are, or ask the mounds beneath which they are buried. Or go where the idle gazer walketh through the museum. See them there as curiosities, and smile to think that man should ever bow before such gods as these. And where are the gods of Persia? Where are they? The fires are quenched, and the fire worshipper hath almost ceased out of the earth. Where are the gods of Greece? Those gods adorned with poetry, and hymned in the most sublime odes. Where are they? They are gone. Who talks of them now, but as things that were of yore? Jupiter, doth any one bow before him? And who is he that adores Saturn? They are passed away, and they are forgotten. And where are the gods of Rome? Doth Janus now command the temple? Or do the Vestal virgins now feed their perpetual fires? Are there any now that bow before these gods? No, they have lost their thrones. And where are the gods of the South Sea Islands, those bloody demons before whom wretched creatures prostrated their bodies? They have well nigh become extinct. Ask the inhabitants of China and Polynesia, where are the gods before which they bowed? Ask, and echo says, ask and ask again. They are cast down from their thrones. They are hurled from their pedestals. Their chariots are broken. Their scepters are burnt in the fire. Their glories are departed. God hath gotten unto himself the victory over false gods, and taught their worshippers that be is God, and that beside him there is none else. Are there gods still worshipped, or idols before which the nations bow themselves? Wait but a little while, and ye shall see them fall. Cruel juggernaut, whose ear still crushes in its motion the foolish ones who throw themselves before it, shall yet be the object of derision, and the most noted idols, such as Buddha and Brahma and Vishnu, shall yet stoop themselves to the earth, and men shall tread them down as mire in the streets. For God will teach all men that he is God, and that there is none else. Mark ye yet again how God has taught this truth to empires. Empires have risen up and have been the gods of the era. Their kings and princes have taken to themselves high titles, and have been worshipped by the multitude. But ask the empires whether there is any besides God. Do you not think you hear the boasting soliloquy of Babylon? I sit as a queen, and am no widow. I shall see no sorrow. I am God, and there is none beside me. And think ye not now, if you walk over ruined Babylon, that ye will meet aught save the solemn spirit of the Bible, standing like a prophet, gray with age, and telling you that there is one God, and that beside him there is none else. Go ye to Babylon, covered with its sand, and sand of its own ruins. Stand ye on the mountains of Nineveh, and let the voice come up. There is one God, and empires sink before him. There is only one potentate, and the princes and kings of the earth, with their dynasties and thrones, are shaken by the trampling of his foot. Go seat yourselves in the temple of Greece. Mark ye where what proud words Alexander once did speak. But now where is he? And where is his empire too? Sit on the ruined arches of the bridge of Carthage, or walk ye through the desolated theaters of Rome, and ye will hear a voice in the wild wind amid those ruins. I am God, and there is none else. O city, thou didst call thyself eternal. I have made thee melt away like dew. Thou saidst, I sit on 7 hills, and I shall last forever. I have made thee crumble, and thou art now a miserable and contemptible place, compared with what thou wast. Thou wast once stone, thou madest thyself marble. I have made thee stone again, and brought thee low. Oh, how has God taught monarchies and empires, that have set themselves up like kingdoms of heaven, that he is God, and that there is none else.
He just took us through all of history. Listen to So what he did was he's interrogating the world. Where are your gods? Where are your gods? Where are your gods? That's apologetics. He's defending this truth that there is one God and there is no other. He went to Rome, he went to Greece, he went to the islands, he went to China, he went to Babylon. He listed all of them. And he's getting us to think about the past, right? Past gods. And he's embedding these also little suggestions that just wait till the future. Future judgment is coming. But he's varying his application through time, the past, and just wait because the future is going to be even worse for these false gods.
Again, how has he taught this great truth to monarchs? There are some who have been most proud that have had to learn it in a way more hard than others. Take, for instance, Nebuchadnezzar.
Now he's up here.
His crown is on his head.
So now he's going into the Bible. He's tracing a theme here through history, an apologetic theme through history. So he's doing like three things at once, and now he's going to go into the Bible and talk about these people who learn these things in the Bible.
Purple robe is over his shoulders. He walks through proud Babylon and says, "Is not this great Babylon which I have builded? Do you see that creature in the field there? It is a man. A man, say you? Its hair is grown like eagle's feathers, and its nails like bird's claws. It walketh on all fours, and eateth grass like an ox. It is driven out from men. That is the monarch who said, Is not this great Babylon that I have builded? And now he is restored to Babylon's palace, that he may bless the Most High, who is able to abase those that walk in pride. I remember another monarch. Look at Herod.
These
he
are
sits
character
in the midst
profiles.
of his people, and he speaks. Hear ye the impious shout. It is the voice of God, they cry, and not the voice of man. The proud monarch gives not God the glory. He affects the God and seems to shake the spheres, imagining himself divine. There is a worm that creepeth into his body, and yet another and another, and ere that sun has set, he is eaten up of worms. Ah, monarch, thou thoughtest of being a god, and worms have eaten thee. Thou hast thought of being more than man, and what art thou? Less than man, for worms consume thee, and thou art the prey of corruption. Thus God humbleth the proud, thus he abaseth the mighty. We might give you instances from modern history, but the death of a king is all sufficient to teach this one lesson, if men would but learn it. When kings die and in funeral pomp are carried to the grave, we are taught the lesson. I am God, and beside me there is none else. When we hear of revolutions and the shaking of empires, when we see old dynasties tremble, and gray-haired monarchs driven from their thrones, then it is that Jehovah seems to put his foot upon land and sea, and with his hand uplifted cries, Hear, ye inhabitants of the earth, ye are but as grasshoppers. I am God, and beside me there is none else.
All right, so we're at about the 14-minute mark. He's talking about man, right? We're fallen, sinful, he is God. So there's a theology proper, which is being tethered to a nature of man, anthropology. You can see the theological bedrock that's under the sermon when you note where he is doing doctrinal features. So what can we learn in our preaching? Well, first of all, we can learn that vivid language makes a huge difference. Just the way he's saying things is very tweetable, ends up on X if he lives today. We can also learn that in a short span of time, we could have quite an apologetic. He just tried judge, jury, and execution for all the gods throughout all history that are no longer all around. So my wife and I just went for our 25th anniversary to Rome and Athens. Amazing, breathtaking, beautiful. But Athens is a graveyard for all the gods of antiquity. And he's pointing that out. He's throwing that in the face of history and saying what we read in Isaiah is true today. He is God, and there is no other. All right, let's keep going.
Again, our God has had much to do to teach this lesson to the wise men of this world. For as rank, pomp, and power have set themselves up in the place of God, so has wisdom. And one of the greatest enemies of deity has always been the wisdom of man. The wisdom of man will not see God. Professing themselves to be wise, wise men have become fools. But have you not noticed in reading history how God has abased the pride of wisdom? In ages long gone by.
So he first did the gods, and now he's going to do the wisdom of man. The gods of man, the wisdom of man. So he's going to now, and this could be another thing you build into your preaching. He goes through a theme of historical thinkers, and Socrates, Aristotle, Bacon, they're all coming, and he's bringing those now to bear on the conversation.
He sent mighty winds into the world, who devised systems of philosophy. These systems, they said, will last forever. Their pupils thought them infallible, and therefore wrote their sayings on enduring parchment, saying, "This book will last forever. Succeeding generations of men will read it, and to the last man that book shall be handed down as the epitome of wisdom." Ah, but said God, that book of yours shall be seen to be folly, ere another 100 years have rolled by. And so the mighty thoughts of Socrates and the wisdom of Solon are utterly forgotten now, and could we hear them speak, the veriest child in our school would laugh to think that he understandeth more of philosophy than they. But when man has found the vanity of one system, his eyes have sparkled at another. If Aristotle will not suffice, here is Bacon. Now I shall know everything. And he sits to work and says that this new philosophy is to last forever. He lays his stones with fair colors, and he thinks that every truth he piles up is a precious, imperishable truth. But alas, another century comes, and it is found to be wood, hay, and stubble. A new sect of philosophers rise up, who refute their predecessors. So too we have wise men in this day, wise secularists, and so on, who fancy they have obtained the truth. But within another 50 years, and mark that word, this hair shall not be silvered over with gray, until the last of that race shall have perished. And that man shall be thought a fool, that with...
So he's varying his application and his explanation through time, then and now, way back when, and then he says, think about today. Now he's in our world, right? Think about, or in his world, think about today and how the philosophies of the late 1800s are going to one day be forgotten. All right, let's keep going.
Ever connected with such a race. Systems of infidelity pass away like a dewdrop before the sun. For God says, I am God, and beside me there is none else.
Vivid language, theology
this Bible
proper.
is the stone that shall break in powder philosophy.
The Bible.
This is the mighty battering ram that shall dash all systems of philosophy in pieces.
Metaphors.
This is the stone that a woman may yet hurl upon the head of every Abimelech, and he shall be utterly destroyed. A church of God, fear not, thou shalt do wonders. Wise men shall be confounded, and thou shalt know, and they too, that he is God.
So did you hear that? He went up real quick. He gave some vivid language and talked about God and the Bible, gave more vivid language. Then he dropped down and said, don't be afraid, Church of God. So now he's talking to us, the audience, and he's talking a little emotion, don't be afraid. So see how he just moves so effortlessly.
And that beside him there is none else. Surely, says one, the Church of God does not need to be taught this.
That's what we're thinking.
Yes, we answer,
Somebody
she does.
says this.
For of all beings, those whom God has made the objects of his grace are perhaps the most apt to forget this cardinal truth, that he is God, and that beside him there is none else. How did the church in Canaan forget it, when they bowed down before other gods, and therefore be brought against them mighty kings and princes, and afflicted them sore? How did Israel forget it? And he carried them away captive into Babylon.
The point is, don't forget.
And what Israel did in Canaan and in Babylon, that we do now. We too often forget that he is God, and beside him there is none else.
Don't forget this.
Doth not the Christian know what I mean, when I tell him this great fact? For hath he not done it himself? In certain times prosperity has come upon him. Soft gales have blown his bark along, just where his wild will wished to steer. And he has said within himself, now I have peace, now I have happiness, now the object I wished for is within my grasp. Now I will say, sit down, my soul, and take thy rest. Eat, drink, and be merry. These things will well content thee, make thou these thy God. Be thou blessed and happy. But have we not seen our God dash the goblet to the earth, spill the sweet wine, and instead thereof fill it with gall? And as he has given it to us, he has said, drink it, drink it. You have thought to find a God on earth, but drain the cup and know its bitterness. When we have drunk it, nauseous the draught was, and we have cried, ah, God, I will drink no more from these things. Thou art God, and beside thee there is none else. And ah, how often, too, have we devised schemes for the future without asking God's permission. Men have said, like those foolish ones whom James mentioned, we will do such and such things on the morrow. We will buy and sell and get gain. Whereas they knew not what was to be on the morrow. For long ere the morrow came, they were unable to buy and sell, Death had claimed them.
So see how he's like alluding to Bible verses here, as James said, and he's coming down here and kind of thumping us on the head, right? Like Christians don't forget, we're prone to forget. So there's this parallel of like just tracing a theme of how the Bible warns us not to forget.
And a small span of earth held all their frame. God teaches his people every day by sickness, by affliction, by depression of spirits, by the forsakings of God, by the loss of the Spirit for a season, by the lackings of the joys of his countenance, that he is God, and that beside him there is none else. And we must not forget that there are some special servants of God raised up to do great works, who in peculiar manner have to learn this lesson. Let a man, for instance, be called to the great work of preaching the gospel.
Now he's talking to
He is
pastors.
successful. God helps him. Thousands wait at his feet, and multitudes hang upon his lips. As truly as that man is a man, he will have a tendency to be exalted above measure, and too much will he begin to look to himself, and too little to his God.
So see how he's gone to Christians and he's talking now to pastors. He's varying his audience. And that's one way to create a variety in your application down here. In our thoughts and our feelings, he's covering our thoughts and our feelings, but he's staying focused on not forgetting that he is God and we're not.
Let men speak who know, and what they know let them speak, and they will say, it is true, it is most true. If God gives us a special mission, we generally begin to take some honor and glory to ourselves. But in the review of the eminent saints of God, have you never observed how God has made them feel that he was God, and beside him there was none else? Poor Paul might have thought himself a god, and been puffed
Character
up above measure
profile.
by reason of the greatness of his revelation, had there not been a thorn in the flesh. But Paul could feel that he was not a god, for he had a thorn in the flesh, and gods could not have thorns in the flesh. Sometimes God teaches the minister by denying him help on special occasions. We come up into our pulpits and say, "Oh, I wish I could have a good day today." We begin to labor. We have been just as earnest in prayer and just as indefatigable. But it is like a blind horse turning round a mill, or like Samson with Delilah.
Whoop.
We shake our vain limbs with vast surprise,
I missed those.
make feeble flight, and win no victories. We are made to see that the Lord is God, and that beside him there is none else. Very frequently God teaches this to the minister, by leading him to see his own sinful nature. He will have such an insight into his own wicked and abominable heart, that he will feel as he comes up the pulpit stairs, that he does not deserve so much as to sit in his pew, much less to preach.
Okay, so I see what I did there. He was talking about Paul, and then he kind of made a little jolt down here to talk about pastors, and then he talked a little more here, and now he shared these analogies on the way of Samson and this and that. But now he's talking about how pastors feel on their way up to the pulpit.
To his fellows. Although we feel always joy in the declaration of God's word, yet we have known what it is to totter on the pulpit steps, under a sense that the chief of sinners should scarcely be allowed to preach to others. Ah, beloved, I do not think he will be very successful as a minister who is not taken into the depths and blackness of his own soul, and made to exclaim, "Unto me, who am less than the least of all saints, is this grace given, that I should preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of Christ." There is another antidote which God applies in the case of ministers. If he does not deal with them personally, he raises up a host of enemies, that it may be seen that he is God and God alone. An esteemed friend sent me yesterday a valuable old MS of one of George Whitfield's hymns, which was sung on Kennington Common. It was a splendid hymn, thoroughly
Here's a current
Whitfieldian
story.
all through. It
Whitfield.
showed that his reliance was wholly on the Lord, and that God was within him. What? Will a man subject himself to the calumnies of the multitude? Will he toil and work day after day unnecessarily? Will he stand up Sabbath after Sabbath and preach the gospel, and have his name maligned and slandered, if he has not the grace of God in him? For myself I can say, that were it not that the love of Christ constrained me, this hour might be the last that I should preach, so far as the case of the thing is concerned. Necessity is laid upon us, yea, woe is unto us if we preach not the gospel. But that opposition through which God carries his servants leads them to see at once that he is God, and that there is none else. If every one applauded, if all were gratified, we should think ourselves God. But when they hiss and hoot, we turn to our God and cry, If on my face for thy dear name shame and reproach should be, I'll hail reproach and welcome shame if thou shalt remember me.
So he just quoted Whitfield and then said, if the love of Christ was not my motive, this would be my last hour preaching. They hiss and hoot. Every pastor knows that feeling, having enemies, and God is doing that. Why? To remind us he is God and we are not. And then he has a quotable phrase there.
This brings us to the second portion of our discourse.
That was all the first point. So 2-point sermon, point 1 goes all the way to about the 25-minute mark. That's okay if you only got 2 points. But look at all the ground he covered, my goodness. And we can take away how to have a historical apologetic. We can take away how to bring to bear the wisdom of man. We can take away how to get people thinking about themselves or pastors or in different situations. Some emotions he brings in here. How are you at line 39? Talking about the feelings of the people in the room. The variety within each lane is pretty awesome. All right, let's get to point 2.
Salvation is God's greatest work, and therefore, in his greatest work, he specially teaches us this lesson, that he is God, and that beside him there is none else. Our text tells us how he teaches it. He says, "Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth." He shows us that he is God, and that beside him there is none else in 3 ways. First, by the person to whom he directs us. Look unto me, and be ye saved. Secondly, by the means he tells us to use to obtain mercy. Look, simply look. And thirdly, by the persons whom he calls to look. Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. First, to whom does God tell us to look for salvation? Oh, does it not lower the pride of man when we hear the Lord say, "Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth"? It is not look to your priest, and be ye saved.
Here's some soteriology.
If you did, there would be another God, and beside him there would be someone else. It is not look to yourself. If so, then there would be a being who might arrogate some of the praise of salvation.
This is apologetic.
But it is look unto me.
Don't look here,
How
don't look
frequently
there.
you, who are coming to Christ, look to yourselves. Oh, you say, I do not repent enough. That is looking to yourself. I do not believe enough. That is looking to yourself. I am too unworthy. That is looking to yourself.
See how he clearly transitioned from little soteriology, don't look here, don't look there, and then he's sharing a gospel invitation, and he's talking to people, specific people in the audience. Oh, maybe you're saying this. He's literally talking about their motives, their questions, and their thoughts. You're saying this, you're saying this, you're saying this. This right here is an example of how one little spot on his map can become a skill that we bring into our preaching, where we jump down and we say, I know there are some people here and you're thinking this and you're thinking this and you're thinking this. And I got to tell you, and it doesn't take long. Look at how quickly he accomplishes this. But if you have trouble getting down into application, there's a lot of little things he's doing here that you can just build into your preaching. All right, keep going.
I cannot discover, says another, that I have any righteousness. It is quite right to say that you have not any righteousness, but it is quite wrong to look for any. It is look unto me. God will have you turn your eye off yourself and look unto him. The hardest thing in the world is to turn a man's eye off himself. As long as he lives, he always has a predilection to turn his eyes inside and look at himself. Whereas God says, look unto me. From the cross of Calvary, where the bleeding hands of Jesus drop mercy. From the Garden of Gethsemane, where the bleeding pores of the Savior's sweat pardons.
Christology,
the cry comes, look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. From Calvary's summit, where Jesus cries, it is finished, I hear a shout, look and be saved. But there comes a vile cry from our soul, nay, look to yourself, look to yourself. Ah, my bearer, look to yourself, and you will be damned. That certainly will come of it.
So now he's talking to his audience again. He gave him a little soteriology, a little Christology, and then he's pressing this gospel invitation. This is one more thing you always want to see if you ever get your sermon mapped. I do that. You can get your sermon mapped. And are you sharing the gospel? Is there a sustained call? Some of the greatest apologists out there, like Greg Laurie, they build in 8, 10, 12 minutes of a gospel invitation, and they keep bouncing off of it this way and that, but they sustain it. It's not just a quick question at the end. And he's sustaining a gospel invitation here.
As long as you look to yourself, there is no hope for you. It is not a consideration of what you are, but a consideration of what God is and what Christ is that can save you. It is looking from yourself to Jesus. Oh, there be men that quite misunderstand the gospel. They think that righteousness qualifies them to come to Christ, whereas sin is the only qualification for a man to come to Jesus. Good old Crisp says, righteousness keeps me from Christ. The whole have no need of a physician, but they that are sick. Sin makes me come to Jesus when sin is felt, and in coming to Christ, the more sin I have, the more cause I have to hope for mercy. David said, and it was a strange thing too,
Now he's back in the Bible.
Have mercy upon me, for mine iniquity is great. But David, why did you not say that it was little?
Tracing a theme.
Because David knew that the bigger his sins were, the better reason for asking mercy. The more vile a man is, the more eagerly I invite him to believe in Jesus. A sense of sin is all we have to look for as ministers. We preach to sinners, and let us know that a man will take the title of sinner to himself. And we then say to him.
So now he identifies specific people. The more vile a man is, he's talking to the most vile man in the room, and then ministers. He's varying his audience. Look at how many times he varies his audience, the people, the different people he's talking to.
Look unto Christ, and ye shall be saved. Look, this is all he demands of thee, and even this he gives thee. If thou lookest to thyself, thou art damned. Thou art a vile
What's your
miscreant,
motive?
filled with loathsomeness, corrupt, and corrupting others.
You look to yourself?
But look thou here. Seest thou that man hanging on the cross? Dost thou behold his agonized head drooping meekly down upon his breast? Dost thou see that thorny crown, causing drops of blood to trickle down his cheeks? Dost thou see his hands pierced and rent, and his blessed feet, supporting the weight of his own frame, rent well nigh in twain with the cruel nails? Sinner, dost thou hear him shriek, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani? Dost thou hear him cry, It is finished?
Gospel.
Dost thou mark his head hang down in death? Seest thou that side pierced with the spear, and the body taken from the cross? Oh, come thou hither. Those hands were nailed for thee. Those feet gushed gore for thee.
Be saved.
That side was opened wide for thee. And if thou wantest to know how thou canst find mercy, there it is. Look unto me. Look no longer to Moses. Look no longer to Sinai. Come thou here and look to Calvary, to Calvary's victim.
He's tracing a
and
theme.
to Joseph's grave. And look thou yonder to the man who near the throne sits with his Father, crowned with light and immortality.
See, what he did quickly there was he traced a theme. So a cross-reference, when you hear a cross-reference, that's what tracing a theme. He goes to Moses and now Jesus. He's tracing a theme through the Bible of how we get saved in Christ.
Look, sinner, he says this morning to you, look unto me and be ye saved. It is in this way God teaches that there is none beside him.
He restated his subpoint.
Because he makes us look entirely to him and utterly away from ourselves. But the second thought is the means of salvation. It is, look unto me and be ye saved. You have often observed, I'm sure, that many people are fond of an intricate worship, an involved religion, one they can hardly understand. They cannot endure worship so simple as ours. Then they must have a man dressed in white and a man dressed in black.
So he said something and now he's defending it with a cultural observation. You've seen this cultural observation. You're looking around the world. How do you do at looking around the world of the people in your congregation, and you're observing things in their culture and getting them ready to go out into the world? You've seen this, and training them to be apologetic about their faith, to give an answer for it.
Then they must have what they call an altar and a chancel. After a little while, that will not suffice, and they must have flower pots and candles.
He's talking about church.
The clergyman then becomes a priest, and he must have a variegated dress with a cross on it. So it goes on. What is simply a plate becomes a paten, and what was once a cup becomes a chalice. And the more complicated the ceremonies are, the better they like them.
What people desire in
church. They like their minister to stand like a superior being.
What they want.
The world likes a religion they cannot comprehend. But have you never noticed how gloriously simple the Bible is? It will not have any of your nonsense. It speaks plain, and nothing but plain things. Look, there is not an unconverted man who likes this, look unto Christ, and be ye saved. No, He comes to Christ like Naaman to Elijah, and when it is said, "Go wash in Jordan," he replies,
Now we're up talking about Naaman. So he talked about the Bible a little bit, but he's doing a lot. He's covering a lot of ground about what people want in a church, and then he's talking about Naaman.
"I verily thought he would come and put his hand on the place and call on the name of his God.
It's a character
But the
profile.
idea of telling me to wash in Jordan, what a ridiculous thing. Anybody could do that. If the prophet had bidden him do some great thing, would he not have done it? Certainly he would. And if this morning I could preach that anyone who walked from here to Bath without his shoes and stockings, or did some impossible thing, should be saved, you would start off tomorrow morning before breakfast. If it would take me 7 years to describe the way of salvation, I am sure you would all long to hear it.
He's involving the
If
audience
only one learned doctor could tell the way to heaven,
in the gospel
how would he
presentation.
be run after it? And if it were in hard words with a few scraps of Latin and Greek, it would be all the better. But it is a simple gospel that we have to preach. It is only, look. You say, is that the gospel?
You
I
say
shall not pay any attention to
your
that.
thoughts.
But why has God ordered you to do such a simple thing?
See how he's
Just to
defending
take
it?
down your pride and to show you that he is God, and that beside him there is none else? Oh, mark how simple the way of salvation is. It is look, look, look. 4 letters,
Look,
and 2 of them
soteriology.
alike.
Just look and be
Look
saved.
unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the
So
earth.
simple.
Some divines want a week to tell you what you are to do to be saved. But God, the Holy Ghost, only wants 4 letters to do it. Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth.
Just camping on this word
How
look.
simple is that way of salvation, and oh, how instantaneous. It takes us some time to move our hand, but a look does not require a moment. So a sinner believes in a moment, and the moment that sinner believes and trusts in his crucified God for pardon, at once he receives salvation in full through his blood.
Soteriology.
There may be one that came in here this morning,
Today,
unjustified
here,
in
this
his
morning.
conscience, that will go out justified rather than others. There may be some here, filthy sinners one moment, pardoned the next. It is done in an instant. Look, look, look. And how universal is it? Because wherever I am, however far off, it just says, look. It does not say, I am to see. It only says, look. If we look on a thing in the dark, we cannot see it. But we have done what we were told. So if a sinner only looks to Jesus, he will save him. For Jesus in the dark is as good as Jesus in the light. And Jesus, when you cannot see him, is as good as Jesus when you can.
It's a
It is
quotable
only
phrase.
look. Says one, I have been trying to see Jesus this year, but I have not seen him. It does not say see him, but look unto him. And it says that they who looked were lightened. If there is an obstacle before you, and you only look in the right direction, it is sufficient. Look unto me. It is not seeing Christ as much as looking after him. The will after Christ, the wish after Christ, the desire after Christ, the trusting in Christ, the hanging on Christ, that is what is wanted. Look, look, look. If the man bitten by the serpent had turned his sightless eyeballs towards the brazen serpent, though he had not seen it, he would still have had his life restored. It is looking.
So he's fluctuating around here about Christ. He keeps saying it. Look, look, look. That's his subpoint. Look and be saved. He's dropping down and talking to certain different people. Now he's back up here tracing a theme in the Old Testament of the person who got bit by the snake.
Not seeing that saves the sinner. We say again how this humbles the man. There is a gentleman who says, well, if it had been 1,000 pounds, that
Words.
would have saved me. I would have thought nothing of it.
What are people saying?
But your gold and silver is cankered. It is good for nothing. Then am I to be saved just the same as my servant Betty?
Thoughts?
Yes, just the same. There is no other way of salvation for you. It is to show man that Jehovah is God and that beside him there is none else. The wise man says, if it had been to work the most wonderful problem,
Word.
or to solve the greatest mystery, I would have done it. May I not have some mysterious gospel? May I not believe in some mysterious religion? No, it is a look. What? Am I to be saved, just like that ragged schoolboy who can't read his letters? Yes, you must, or you will not be saved at all. Another says, I have been very moral and upright.
See what he's doing? He's saying 3 different times. Some people are saying this. Here's their words. Am I to be saved? That's their thought. Yes, that's how you are to be saved. This is all an apologetic of what he's saying, which is look and be saved. Can that be? He's dealing with the thoughts and the feelings, or the words and the thoughts, words and thoughts of three different people.
I have observed all the laws of the land, and if there is anything else to do, I will do it. I will eat only fish on Fridays and keep all the fasts of the church, if that will save me. No, sir, that will not save you. Your good works are good for nothing. What? Must I be saved in the same way as a harlot or a drunkard? Yes, sir, there is only one way of salvation for all. He hath concluded all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all. He hath passed a sentence of condemnation on all, that the free grace of God might come upon many to salvation. Look, look, look. This is the simple method of salvation. Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. But lastly, mark how God has cut down the pride of man, and has exalted himself by the persons whom he has called to look.
This is it.
Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth.
This is that third subpoint.
When the Jew heard Isaiah say that, he exclaimed, you ought to have said, look unto me, O Jerusalem, and be saved. That would have been right. But those Gentile dogs, are they to look and be saved? Yes, says God.
Gentile dogs.
I will show you, Jews, that though I have given you many privileges, I will exalt others above you. I can do as I will with my own. Now, who are the ends of the earth? Why, they are poor heathen nations now that are very few degrees removed
little
from
ecclesiology
roots,
here.
uncivilized and untaught. But if I might go and tread the desert,
And
and find the bushman in his kraal, or go to the South Seas and find a
Who is
cannibal,
called?
I would say to the cannibal or the bushman, look unto Jesus, and be ye saved, all
Who
the
is
ends
called
of
to
the
be
earth.
saved?
They are some of the ends of the earth, and the gospel is sent as much to them as to the polite Grecians, the refined Romans, or the educated Britons. But I think the ends of the earth imply those that have gone the farthest away from Christ. I say drunkard, that means you. You have been staggering back till you have got right to the ends of the earth.
See how he did that? He went so wide. He went. Here's what he's covering. His third subpoint is who's called, right? So Christ, look to me, all the ends of the earth. So now he's talking about ecclesiology, who is called, anthropology, who needs Jesus, and soteriology, who can be saved. And then he drops down to you, and he's going to give 4 different people in the room. Look at how quickly he did that. Everybody in the whole world and you.
I've almost had delirium tremens. You cannot be much worse. There is not a man breathing worse than you, is there? But God, in order to humble your pride, says to you, look unto me, and be ye saved. There is another who lived a life of infamy and sin, until she has ruined herself, and even Satan seems to sweep her out at the back door. But God says, look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. Methinks I see one trembling here, and saying, I have not been one of these, sir, but I have been something worse, for I have attended the house of God, and I have stifled convictions,
Different
and put off
people
all
in the
thoughts
room.
of Jesus. And now I think he will never have mercy on me. You are one of them, ends of the earth. So long as I find any who feel like
He's
that,
dealing with their thoughts.
I can tell them that they are the
and their
ends
words.
of the earth.
It's you.
But, says another, I am so peculiar. If I did not feel as I do, it would be all very well. But I feel that my case is a peculiar one.
Look at this burst.
That is all right. They are a peculiar people.
He's
You
camping.
will do. But another one says, there is nobody in the world like me. I do not think you will find a being under the sun that has had so many calls, and put them all away, and so many sins on his head.
Words. All
Besides,
these
I have
things
guilt
people
that I
are
should
saying.
not like to confess to any living creature. One of the ends of the earth again. Therefore all I have to do is to cry out in the Master's name, look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. For I am God, and there is none else. But you sayest, sin will not let thee look. I tell thee, sin will be removed
Words.
the moment thou
What
dost
people are
look.
saying and thinking.
But I dare not. He will condemn me. I fear to look.
I fear.
He will condemn thee more if thou dost not look. Fear then and look, but do not let thy fearing keep thee from looking. But he will cast me out. Try him, but I cannot see him. I tell you, it is not seeing but looking. But my eyes are so fixed on the earth, so earthly, so worldly. But poor soul, he giveth power to look and live. He saith, look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. Take this, dear friends, for a New Year's text. both ye who have loved the Lord, and ye who are only looking for the first time.
Different people.
Christian, in all thy troubles through this year, look unto
This
God and
year.
be saved. In all thy trials and afflictions, look unto Christ and find
In your
deliverance.
trial.
In all thine agony, poor soul, in all thy repentance for thy guilt, look unto Christ and find pardon. This year remember to put thine eyes heavenward, and thy heart heavenward too. Remember this day that thou find round thyself a golden chain, and put one link of it in the staple in heaven.
Golden chain.
Look unto Christ, fear not. There is no stumbling when a man walks with his eyes up to Jesus. He that looked at the stars fell into the ditch, but he that looks at Christ walks safely. Keep your eyes up all the year long. Look unto him, and be ye saved.
Time
And
all the year
remember that
long.
he is God,
This
and
year.
beside him there is none else. And thou, poor trembler, what sayest thou? Wilt thou begin the year by looking unto him?
What do
You know
you
how
say?
sinful you are this morning. You know how filthy you are.
Gospel
And
imitation.
yet it is possible that before you open your pew door and get into the aisle, you will be as justified as the apostles before the throne of God. It is possible that ere you foot treads the threshold of your door, you will have lost the burden that has been on your back, and you will go on your way singing, I am forgiven, I am forgiven, I am a miracle of grace. This day is my spiritual birthday. Oh, that it might be such to many of you, that at last I might say, Here am I, and the children thou hast given me. Hear this convinced sinner. This poor man cried, and the Lord delivered him out of his distresses. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good.
3 quick quotes.
Now believe on him. Now cast thy guilty soul upon his righteousness. Now plunge thy black soul into the bath of his blood.
Vivid language.
Now put thy naked soul at the door of the wardrobe of his righteousness. Now seat thy famished soul at the feast of plenty. Now look, how simple does it seem, and yet it is the hardest thing in the world to bring men to. They never will do it, till constraining grace makes them. Yet there it is. Look, go thou away with that thought. Look unto me, and be ye saved all the ends of the earth, for I am God, and there is none else.
One verse. 21-year-old Charles Spurgeon. Okay, so let's just remind ourselves of the key skills. How are you in your preaching at having a sustained and comprehensive emphasis? How many times did he say it? We know exactly what this sermon is about. Look to me, I am God, there is no other, all the ends of the earth, and be saved. A sustained and comprehensive emphasis. And then a vast horizon of depth. He took us around the world and throughout history, not only in false gods, but in false ideologies. The vastness of where he took us everywhere. So there's a vast horizon of depth, and then a simple structure, a very simple, repeated structure. 2 points, and then a few subpoints with each point. How are you doing at keeping your structure simple and accessible? A simple structure and an apologetic angle. He defended the idea that I am God and there is no other. Look to me and be saved all the earth. He defended that throughout the sermon. Do you work in apologetic points where you say something and then you defend it? You know, I know some of you out there are thinking this. He tied it down here in application to look at all the words people say. I know some of you are saying this, some of you are saying this, some of you are saying this. How are you at engaging with the people in front of you? You're saying this, you're thinking this, you're feeling this. The application part of the sermon map shows you drilling down into the choices, the words, the thoughts, the feelings, the motives of the person. So when you see your own preaching going down, 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 you're doing better than just don't drink, smoke, dance, or swear. That's all external. You're drilling down. When you see on the sermon map these dots going down, you're getting into their soul. And then you can vary your application places and time and people. Now you're drilling down and then you're broadening out. You're taking them to their past, to their present, to their future. This year, he said, this year, I want this year to be a year where you know Christ and you believe this. Well, like I said, I could do a 10-part series on this. It's overwhelming, and maybe you feel like you should just put your Bible down and never preach again after you hear 21-year-old Spurgeon rocking it on one verse. But I hope you take some of these. It's like watching film. Take some of these moves, take some of these patterns, take some of these, it's like music, take some of these little chords and riffs. See if you can build them into your own preaching. And reach out with any feedback you have for me. I'd love to hear if this is helpful. If you have any preachers you'd like me to map, let me know. And if you'd like to get mapped, let me know that too. Check out sermonmapping.com. Again, I hope this is a blessing, and we want as preachers to make every minute count. So let's get after it. God bless.